Welcome to Bad Bitch Boot Camp, where we make basic bitches badder and bad bitches better. I'm your host, Ferrari Barbie. Now I know I said this wasn't gonna be your average female podcast, and even though today we will be talking about relationships, I promise this ain't none of that square shit you're used to. Women are easily manipulated and enticed by material things. Everyone wants to live a life of luxury, but not always understand the consequences that come with getting fast money. It's all fun and game until the feds get involved, and when the pressure's on, many fold. Today, my guest is a real boss bitch, straight out the D. She ran with some of the biggest names in the drug game, some that your favorite rappers still idolize to this day. After serving her time in prison, she may not be making plays in the drug game anymore, but her hustling mentality never changed. You've seen her star in the BET Plus series, American Gangsta Trap Queens. She's also executive produced and featured in the reality show Notorious Queens, all while serving her community through activism and philanthropy. Please welcome my guest today, the First Lady of BMF, Tonesha Welsh. Welcome to Bad Bitch Boot Camp.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
You
look beautiful
no,
today.
you look really amazing.
Thank you so much.
This is Bad Bitch for real.
Thank you, Ferrari Barbie.
Yes.
The coach.
Yes.
I'm trying to make these basic bitches badder and these bad bitches better.
Oh, love it.
So welcome to Atlanta.
Thank you. This used to be my stomping grounds.
Yeah. So we're celebrating you today, and I would love to pop a bottle of Bel Air with you.
Yes, and I'm
Do you like the gold or the blue?
I'm looking at the colors. I don't know. I mean, I never knew the blue. Let's go gold. Gold is always.
Let's go gold.
Let's
right?
go gold. Gold
Let's
is
go gold.
Always.
So you're from the D.
Yes.
From Detroit. Can you tell us a little bit about how you grew up?
I grew up in a two-parent home. Grew up with my stepdad and my three brothers. In the middle-class neighborhood. My father and mother worked at the auto industry, and that's like, in Detroit, that's like what people did. You worked in the auto industry. Your family follows you into the auto industry. I guess I just didn't follow in the auto industry, but my whole family did. And except me, they didn't want me. I wanted to do something different. It was so crazy. I was just in Kansas with my brother, and he was like, "You were so different from us."
Really?
Yeah. I have three brothers, and I'm the only girl. Yeah, pop that.
Yeah.
And and I grew up in a nice neighborhood with some bomb parents. Just don't know what.
So would you have considered yourself like square growing up?
Never.
Never.
Ever. No. I just, I think growing up, I wouldn't say, I don't know. I think growing up with the three brothers and just a mom, maybe they kind of doted on me. So I kind of grew up entitled and spoiled. I hate to say entitled, but I think that's what kind of did it. So I ran the house. So then I figured out, okay, this is easy.
Right.
I didn't realize it then, but I just had that. My aunt was telling me not too long ago that I always had that leadership, mentality as a young girl. My uncle used to call me GOAT. And I'm just like thinking about what they use in GOAT for now. And I wonder why he always said that. And I'm just like, okay, he's like, GOAT, you a GOAT, go ahead.
Right.
And I never knew what that was about, but I guess they seen the leadership in me as a young girl.
Yeah, Boston's birth.
Bob, yes.
Cheers to you. I love that.
Yes.
So,
Good.
I think a big misconception that people have of women who get into the street life or like the bad boys is that they don't have a positive male role model growing up. So do you feel like you had that?
I think my stepdad was. I think that I just, for some reason, grew up rebellious. I don't know why. Maybe thinking because he was my stepdad and wanted to rebel. But I think it was positive. He always worked. He always took care of my mom. He would always say, I remember him going to work, bringing in his check to my mom and she figuring out the bills. He taking care of the home. He was real stern though, real disciplined. So I think I rebelled against that. I didn't like rules.
Okay.
And I think, I think that was it. I think I did grow in a positive. I'm just, like I said, I don't know why I rebelled. I just didn't want to do what everybody else did.
So you grew up on the west side?
Grew up on the west side of Detroit.
So what took you down to the east side?
Oh, one of my brother's girlfriends, introduced me to the East Side. She was
Okay.
like, hey, come to this party with me. And I was like, so game, like,
Right.
yes, take me to a party. So we went to the East Side, to the Rooster Tail. And it was a whole different world for me. I always, stayed on the West Side, didn't know anything about the East Side, didn't know anything about the East Side bad boys. But when I seen them, I was turned out immediately.
You was
turned out. Have you ever did that? Have you ever went in somewhere like, oh my God.
Chicago did it for me.
Yes. It was just like glitz and glamour. In my world, it was glitz and glamour. I had never seen it. And immediately I wanted to live like that. They were just those type of men and women.
What was it that was so attractive to you at that time?
I think it was when we first pulled up the cars, the jewels, the women. Everybody was much older than me. My brother's girlfriend, she was much older than me, and I'm tagging along with her. So she showed me a different world. And when I went in there, I knew I was probably the youngest in there at that time. But it was like amazing to me. Immediately, I was attracted to that world.
Yeah, it was just like, what is this? This is not real.
It was just fabulous. Even like, I went back to the Rooster Tail and they were explaining to me, the history of the Rooster Tail. And he was telling me about the architect, the Art Deco and everything. And that's what attracted me into that world, that whole scene.
Okay.
Like the... how do we want to say? I want to say like, I'm sweating a little bit. I'm sorry. Like, it was like the pimps and hoes, the drug dealers.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that world, I was attracted to that world.
Yeah.
It was all new to me. I felt a little sheltered when I was on the West Side. But when I see now, it's like, okay, this is me. This is where I belong. Right here.
Right.
Right here. Yeah.
So do you feel like when you were attracted to that lifestyle, did you know like any of the like ugly parts of it? Like the risks and the consequences you could have been putting yourself into?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, you're a little younger, much younger, the movie like Superfly and, just attracted to like all the Bonnie. I was always attracted to like anything on television that had that kind of theme, like, the Superfly.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't remember her name, Foxy Brown and all that kind of stuff. And, Bonnie and Clyde, like the mafia, anything that had, that kind of shit. Right. I was attracted to that at a young age. I always imagined myself being in that world. So I didn't have that kind of, being in high school saying, oh, people had them goals in high school saying, I want to be, a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to be an attorney. I didn't know what I wanted to be in high school. In high school, I just wanted to graduate and get out, and figure out from then.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. Just like, hurry up.
Yeah, get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
Right.
At that time, my boyfriend was older. I just started in a serious relationship kind of late, and back then, like 15, still didn't have, sex until like 16, but still, that's kind of late considering now, and then. And I just still didn't know what I wanted, like had that one boyfriend, like I'm boxed in, I wanted to be out. And when I seen that world, that's what I wanted to do.
That's where you wanted to be.
That's where I wanted to be. I was so fascinated. I was always, like I said, watching television, Superfly, even though I always think of that song. Now I don't like it. The song like, Superfly.
Right.
You're gonna die. So right now I'm like, I hate that song. Because that was the song that attracted me. Just like the songs now attract the young people. The song attracted me to that life. I knew I didn't want to be a drug addict. I just wanted I wanted to dress like that. I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be, somebody's chick looking good with their man.
Yeah. Fuck with the boss. I know.
Fucking with the boss, Yeah. And I wanted to be that type of down chick for him.
Yeah.
Or even vice versa. I just wanted to be, hey, let's have this team and let's run the world.
Yeah.
Run our city.
For sure. And you were that, right?
Yeah.
With your first
my first
husband, Harold.
Yes.
He was kind of who turned you out into the game.
Yeah.
And started hustling.
He said, don't be blaming me. It's both of us. That's what you
right. You were like,
I wanted you to put me in the game. Because I was always fascinated. Like, he had this charisma. He was very stylish. He was very, like, he was different from my high school boyfriend who was in college, very smart, very just like, we gonna do
square.
I still love him to death. We are bestie friends, but I just wasn't, I was bored with that life.
Yeah.
And once I met my ex-husband, he just showed me a whole different world. And I wanted to be a part of that world that I had, imagined. And kind of turned me out, I guess.
So do you feel like he gave you what you wanted, what you were looking for?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
And how did that go with your guys' relationship? Like, how'd you guys get started?
We got very toxic, but we got started and like, me just watching him be with his friends and, him being on the east side. You always hear, I don't know from what side of town you are in Chicago, but you always hear certain sides of towns.
Right.
And being from Detroit, we always hear like, oh, the east side, you want to be with the east side guy, or, you want to be, and the east side guys wanted to be with the west side girl. So I had that chance.
Okay.
And once I met him, it was immediate attraction. And then I wanted to be a part of that world. And I knew that immediately seeing who he was hanging with, his crew and the people he was surrounded with, I could be a part of that world. And I wanted to be a part of that world. No matter how many times my mother was like, no, don't go over there. I was being, she was pulling me back and I was pulling me back. And I just wanted that life. And my mother said, I knew when he bought you that first fur coat, it was over. It was over. Yes. It was no coming back. I was already turned out, He was giving me his whip, right away. And there was just no turning back.
So coming from where I come from, being someone's bottom bitch from pimping and hoeing, that's what attracted me was the boss. I want to be his, we see their main chick and we're like, we want to be just like her.
Right.
Can I be your girl too?
Right.
Can I look like this?
Right.
Can I do this? And, with my situation in pimping and hoeing, like he gives us a program, a plan, and then it's our job as a bad bitch, a bottom bitch to meet those standards. But in your case, I feel like your man just, by what I've heard and followed from your story, he brought you in and let you be a partner.
And because I'm I grew up I don't know anything about being a follower. Not that I want people to follow me. I didn't even think about you are a leader. I just don't know how to take rules very well.
Okay.
Like you saying a bottom bitch, that would just drive me nuts for somebody to tell me what to do.
Right.
And so I wanted to be a part. I wanted to be a team. I want us to be a team. Let's bounce things off at one another. Not knowing then I wanted to be a team, but I just felt like, hey, I can do that too.
Right.
You showed me and I could tell you, I can do that too. I can run that too. That's what I wanted to do. And like he always tell me, like you was telling me too. We were like, we could tag team off of one another. We kind of, we had a great, at a time, we worked together good. He allowed me to, be a part of like, okay, what you think? And I've always thought that I could do it better. I'm like, I can do that better than you. Like, let me handle it. And I don't know, in the pimp situation, they might have let the bottom bitch, or they run the other hoes. He would just let me, he knew that I had it in me, that I could do it. Because I was like, once I learned something, I got that.
Yeah.
I'm a run that. I can boss up with that.
Show me the game and let me make the play.
Show me the game and I can do it. Like now, like coming home or just finding my way now, I know that I always tell people, okay, well, what is this? Okay, I can do that. I can run that. But younger, I didn't know that. I didn't have that mentality like, okay, once you learn something, you can do it. You can run a Fortune 500 company. I didn't know that younger, because once you run the business in the street, you know that you can run anything, because that's the hardest business out there to run. It don't stop. You know, you watching everything. That business runs 24/7
in every lane.
In every lane. I used to tell, like I told him in Southwest, you had to have a lot of brains to run the street and have it at a certain level. You know, and I guess that's what it was. He trusted me in that. You know, we came together and he trusted me in that, and it was just, and he had trust issues anyway. You know, he don't let you. Oh, he had trust issues, and he trusted me. He knew that I can get it done. I had his back. We can work together. He don't see me do the worst. Right. You know, he blow up my car, I blow up his car. We just, it was just that kind of thing that I was just, I don't know where it came from. Like I said, my brother was just telling me, where did that come from with you? And I don't really know. Maybe television, maybe just looking at you. Y'all too corny for me in this household. I want to escape. And that's what I did. I escaped and met this person that, it wasn't at a time, it probably wasn't nothing that I wouldn't try. You know, I think about it all the time. I didn't have a fear of anything. Probably if he would have said, "You think we can rob a bank?" I probably would have. You know, I'm just thinking now how you reflect. Do you reflect back a lot? I reflect back a lot. I think that I probably could have pulled those things off because I didn't have a fear, and I had that type of confidence. That, what did they call it? Grandiosity. I had all of that. I just thought that I could do it. And that's where it came from.
So you guys partnered up, and then you helped him grow his business, or you guys grew together. So how is that?
I helped him. Yeah, I helped him grow his business. So I'm like, we ain't making enough money over here.
How was that not like your fairy tale happily ever after? Like you,
I don't, you know, like
when did it go left?
I don't know what year went left or how it went left. I guess, and you know, being the more money you had, the more, you know, insecurities become into a relationship, the more, you know, women, the more people become involved. And I think the more paranoia. And that happened with us, you know, I could see it. And that's one thing, like, even when I got with Terry, I said, and this is a true story, and people, I told him sitting at my kitchen table, I'm gonna make you rich. But when you get rich, please don't change. Don't make money change you, because I seen that in my first husband. The more he had, the more we were growing, the more he changed, the more, you know, the disrespect came, the paranoia came, the fighting came. So yeah, I just, I don't know what point, the more money, you know.
Yeah.
With me, and I guess it's the egos.
Yeah.
The egos change people a lot. You know, I probably stayed a little more humble, trying to watch him, trying to protect him. I wanted to be that same person that protected him. He didn't want that, you know. He became more like, you know, you trying to be, and that's when it came, you know. More insecure he came.
So do you ever feel like maybe he got jealous of your success from the game that he gave you? And do you ever feel like, okay, in my situation, my dude put me in charge of a program. He gave me the plan, he gave me the rules, and he said, this is how much I need it to make. I exceeded his expectations. I had his shit moving. He didn't even have to come to work. He was getting paid without even seeing these bitches. I had his, but then he started getting jealous of me. And I'm like, how are you? And that's where our abuse started, because he had to let me know, bitch, you're not better than me. And I'm like, I'm doing what you asked me to do.
Right.
You know, so in my opinion, I feel like men get, like you said, insecure, jealous, or, well, I think they get jealous because, and I don't know how you can compete with your bitch.
I don't know either. But what I think would happen with him, the more he grew, the more powerful, the more women was looking at him. And I think he had to calm me down so, you know, he could look for all the bitches, like you said, and all the, you know. Yeah, I think that's what happened with him. And yeah, they dare not want you to look more powerful than them.
Right.
And I think in some ways you do start getting more attention because I think people know, even not myself, if I see a man, I immediately watch his who's surrounding him, his whole surrounding, and I immediately look at his bra. And I kind of say, I can tell if she's a bad bitch or she's a weak bitch or she's just, so I think when they start seeing, oh, she's getting too much, like you said, too much attention, people's knowing her name, that could have played in it. But I'm not really, I think a lot of it because we both were starting getting to know. And I'm starting to watch you too. You watching me. You doing too much, buddy. You starting to have too many hoes around you. So I got to calm you. He got to keep me down.
Right.
Like I'm going to give you a baby. You going to stay at home. I'm not a stay at home.
Right.
You didn't meet me like that.
Exactly.
And so I think all of that, like you said, all of it would be in play into it. And people don't realize it, but it does.
Yeah.
Especially with a street guy, you can't outshine him or look like you outshine. You can't come through a room and you got to look beautiful and quiet.
Yeah.
Men
always say they want a boss bitch, but then they don't know what to do when
they get the boss bitch.
Yeah, and then they steady whine and dine a bum bitch and complain about it.
And then you get you like it's always an issue.
Yeah.
And I think like now, like we come back to we talk about, things back in the day, and all of that played in it, that all of it played a part in it.
And you said you guys had a toxic relationship. Eventually it was toxic.
Yeah.
I followed your story and I seen you stab his ass.
It got right back with him. They took me to jail. I'm like, I hope
did he bail you out?
He didn't bail me out. What happened was, back then, if you press charges, you had to press charges on a person.
Okay.
And he didn't press charges within like 48 hours, so they released me. But now, I love the laws now that the state take over. If you're in an abusive relationship, they take over. But he didn't press charges. I had to go home, and we were. You know how they go. I had laid in bed like, this nigga gonna die tonight. He gonna die tonight. I had my knife. I'm like, he gonna die tonight. But we was in such a toxic relationship that I don't know what drew us, but that toxicity drew us together. And like, that's just one thing. Like, he even showed like at the end of our relationship where he ran into my car. But all through it in our 20s and like we were doing some crazy things to each other.
Do you think it was the money like you guys were more addicted to that kept you together?
For me it was.
Like
I think I had already had the 2 sons, and I had 2 separate fathers then. And then I had ended up having a child by him, and I wanted it to work.
Yeah.
I would, in my mind, I already felt like a failure. You don't say it out loud, but I said it in somewhere in back of my head. I got to make this work. I already have 2 baby daddies. I want this to work. I want this. I want my children together. No matter how toxic he was with me, he loved my boys. Mm-hmm. He loved my 2 older boys. He accepted them, and his mother was the best. Mm-hmm. Those were her grandsons, and she would always say, I don't want you 2 together, but don't take my grandchildren.
Oh.
And those wasn't her biological grandchildren, but she loved them. She started a relationship with them. She was taking care of them. And I just didn't want to break that up. And we always think we can fix a person.
Right.
I couldn't fix him. He needed fixing himself. And he didn't even realize how toxic he was. He thought that was a norm to him because that's how he grew up. Oh. His stepfather had abused him, so he didn't really know that he was really toxic. He thought like, this is normal. This is how you do. You say something crazy, that's what I learned later from him. And later on conversations, and now we talk about it. And after our divorce, and while he was still incarcerated, he, because You wanted to always like apologize. You still apologize. I'm like, look, if you apologize one more time, I'm never going to talk to you again, because it makes me keep reiterating and keep thinking about it. I'm over it. I'm good. I understand. You know, it wasn't. I could have got out of it a long time ago. Also, you know. But yeah, it was really crazy. But it was from his childhood that it after, with all the money and the ego and all that, he started feeling like this, and that brought all that craziness into his life.
And then you guys separated when he went to prison.
Yes.
So you guys had a connect, and the connect got knocked, right? And that took him down. Not you, but him down as well.
It took, well, the connect ended up turning to be an informant, and that took him down. And he told me he was just like, he told me recently he took the whole responsibility, you know, even though I just found, you know, because I was in that, you know, in that meeting, but I really didn't say anything, and I'm kicking him under the table because I hadn't noticed the room. You know, that's one thing I don't know what it was. I just always kind of, you know, watch the room as soon as I walk in, and I had noticed everything. He's just gone whole, like, we about to get this money, we about to get this connect. And I'm like, no, you know, and I'm sitting there and watching the whole room, and he's just talking, and I'm not saying anything, and I'm literally kicking him under the table, and he's still talking. And by the time we get home, like, I think the next day, then we get raided.
Wow.
But we should have known. We kind of known because, like, at the airport, I knew. I got stopped. I had told him, I don't want to fly with you. We ain't flying together. Okay. I'm not flying with you. And I did this whole plan. We flew separately. And then when we got home, he still took the phone call from them. And I'm begging him not to take the phone call. Like, fuck them. I literally said, fuck them. And he was like, we can't say fuck them. You're like, fuck them. And I said, and he was leaving, I said, please don't call him. Please don't call him. And that was in the evening. And that morning, he went out and he called him that morning. They had hit all our spots in Detroit.
And how frustrating is that for you? Like, he trusts you with other situations and information and advice, and you're his girl. You're his bitch. You have his back.
But you know,
how does he not listen to your intuition?
Men, sometimes they don't want to listen to us. You know how sometimes you be like, yeah, that ain't your friend. That nigga ain't your friend. Fuck him. He's not cool with you. He don't like you. We do this all the time, and they don't want to listen. And it was one of those situations. He didn't want to listen. And hard-headed, just, that's what happened. And, you know, like I said, it happens all the time. They don't. We sitting back and we telling them, okay, you think that's your friend. He's not your friend. And that, it was definitely one of those situations.
Yeah. Even in my situation, my man, he had a bad bitch. Like, not a bad bitch.
Like you, like bad bitch. A bad rotten ass bitch.
And me and the other girls warned him, like, she's not cool. The way you know, go off sometimes and discipline us, she's not going to be with that. If anything, let us whoop on her instead of you, you know? And he took matters into his own hands and caught a case and dismantled our whole operation. But it's like, you would have listened to us for anything else, any other advice. Like, how do you not trust your team? And that was the most frustrating thing for me. So when I seen your story, I'm like, what? And then going down the line again, you know? And I'm like, how do you not trust your bitch?
Something happens in there, and I don't even understand. You know, I'm like, what made, you know, even though I even asked now, what made you stop trusting me? Like, you know, did you think I had, like, I told you so kind of syndrome, or I think I know so much? It's not like I think I know. It's like I sit back. I've been through this rodeo a few times, and I'm only going by experience, and that's why I can tell you. You bring me along, you tell me to just watch your back. If I'm watching your back and then you ask me, I'm telling you what I see. Yeah. And you're still not listening. And I think as men, they start thinking on the money more. Like, ooh, this play is, I'm at this play. Or you're like, your friend, this bitch bring me in more money than y'all. You know, or y'all talking this, but she might have been bringing in more dollars.
Yeah.
And he was looking at the money more so than what I was saying, because in that life you think about, you do take a lot of risk. You don't really know. You be like, okay, I'm a try it. You hoping it's gonna work, and that's what I think it was. The greed. Greed kicks in with a lot of people. A lot.
Yeah.
And when the greed kicks in, that's when you stop paying attention, because it's not you anymore. It's your
Right.
ego telling you, I can do this. I'm gonna get it. I can, I can get off on, I can get over on this. I'm like, you can't.
And it's so easy and so fast, and you can just make it back again tomorrow.
Yeah, you think
it's just endless.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't never look at it like this is gonna end. You think, okay,
Badly.
yeah, badly, right?
Right.
Like badly, and it does. A lot of people, when you talk to people, you sit in prison, you talk to so many people, they have the same idea. They thought that they can get away with it. That's that ego and that, like I said, that thing telling you, I can beat this, I can keep doing this. And I was telling them that, the more, the fancier you look, the more, the bigger the cars, the bigger the house, the more money.
More money, more problems.
More problems. That's a true song. More
Yeah.
money, more problems. And people don't think about that, but that's what it is. You can't beat this fucking system.
Right.
And I always tell them, I used to tell Terry, while we're sleeping, if somebody working 24/7, he don't pass the torch along to the next nigga. I'm talking about the DEA, the FBI. We can't outthink them. So you have to start thinking, differently. You can't outthink them. What's the exit plan? What are we gonna do?
Yes.
For me, I have been in it like with my ex-husband since the 80, my son, my youngest, 81, 82. Never got, never went to prison, never. So my rodeo ride, I was getting nervous. Like, oh God, this has been a long time.
Yeah.
I've been in this a long time. I've been here to the rodeo. So I've seen the cycle of people. So yeah, you can't beat that system, and a lot of people think they can. We got so many people now that I watch on Instagram, or I go to a spot, I'd be like, well, how can I help them? I don't want to be like, the mother, she old school. I don't want to be that, but I see it. Like, this is a dead end for you, dude. You're so smart. You have so much potential. Let's teach entrepreneurship now. Let's move forward, because it is a dead end.
Yeah.
We were lucky. I don't even know if I say lucky, blessed. I don't like to use lucky, or I don't like to use lucky. I like to use more so maybe blessed, because when people say the system give you second chances, and God gave me when I tell you so many chances, when I was jumping out of cars, jumping out of windows, doing so many different things. God really gave me so many chances. And when I went to prison, I realized, like, dang, he really loves me. I am truly his child.
Wow.
And now when I come back and look at people, I'm sitting around, I'll be like, this ain't nothing.
Yeah.
It's short-lived.
And half of it is fake these days
It's
anyways.
fake.
It's all a facade. It's not
all
even
a
real.
Facade,
So when he went to prison, you held him down, or how?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But I knew then, like, even like we got married, the fake wedding and everything.
While he was in prison.
They're going to show it different. But we got married just before he got sentenced, to make it look all good, for the judge. And maybe he did think it was a good thing. And I knew it wasn't a good thing. But let me hold you down like you held me down. At that time, I'm just such a loyal person. And I believe in, we did this together. You didn't do all this. You going to prison. I was with you. I helped you spend this money. I helped you make this money. I didn't get caught up, but you got caught up.
He took the case.
You took the case, but I'm a ride this with you. So I was visiting him. I was seeing him, but all along while he was there, I used to always tell him, I'm gonna hold you down, but when you come home, this is over with. So I always visit him, always make sure the books was good. Even before he came home, let him know how good he was going to be set up. all of that. So, that I think that is, even if you're going to take a money from a dude and you're going to be down with a dude, I don't care. Like people be saying, well, he had 15 hoes and he had this. You knew he had 15 and you knew he had 10. You still was with him.
Right.
So I'm not going to just, when you go to prison, say fuck you.
Yeah, and you benefited off the lifestyle while he was outside.
Right. So
and if he was still out, you probably still would.
No matter what. So I always told him, like, but look, I'm not obligated to stay with you, but I'm going to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
And that was our agreement while I was visiting him. Like, I'm going to make sure you're good. You're going to be good.
Yeah.
I made sure them boots was good. I made your visits good. You're going to look good in here. And when you come home, you're going to be good. And I did all that. But I didn't want to. I knew me and him together would never work anymore.
Wow.
Everything was gone,
And so where does Terry come in?
Terry and me and him, my ex-husband introduced me to Terry and Mitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they were coming along to be a part of our enterprise. That's what happened. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he told me, because we were growing. He had already had a crew, but he wanted to expand. He wanted some,
This is pre-BMF. Like BMF was
BMF
not a
didn't
thing
even
yet.
come out.
They came to work for y'all.
BMF came in like in 2000s. Like I said, I've been in the streets since like 90. Not my oldest son 81. So like 82, 83, all the way during the 80s when I first met my ex-husband. So when we met Terry and Meech, it had to be like 86, 87. And we had already, my ex-husband had already been, had made a name in the streets of Detroit. So when he brought them along, they were just part of helping, we need some more people. We getting these things. These things are growing. We need more people to, help us distribute them. And so that's why when Terry and Meech, they called them the 50 boys.
Oh, yeah.
And the 50 boys, they were doing rocks. That's like 50. I don't know nothing about that. People always say, well, what is
crack?
Yeah, and I guess Boulder 50 rocks.
Okay.
And so, but when they came to be a part of us, my ex-husband were selling keys already. So he brought them he expanded them. Mm-hmm. So he brought them in to help expand. I heard about these two young brothers. What I've heard from him is he met Meech through his ex-baby mama, whose name was Yolanda. So Yolanda introduced them to the two brothers. My ex introduced them to me and say, hey, I'm going to bring them, some other couple of guys in. They're from Southwest Detroit. I never knew what Southwest Detroit was in my life. I lived in Detroit all my life.
Wow.
Never had been there, never knew anything about it. And so we always would meet on I call it the famous Coyle Street. I grew up on Coyle Street, so we used to do a lot of deals on Coyle Street.
Okay.
So he was like, hey, we're going to meet on Coyle. Like, okay, I'm going to pull up. They were already there. Here I pull up, BNC.
Boss bitch.
I pull up. I get out the car and he introduced us. And, that's when Terry said he first seen me, he immediately basically, I'm in love with her when I first seen her.
Wow.
So
not the boss's bitch.
The boss's bitch, And what happened was when I was prosecutor, how, what is that? Was it Scarface? How Scarface first seen Esmeralda? She did this whole scenario in court. No, Your Honor, she was right there. And when, that whole thing, I'm like, what is she talking about? But that whole kind of scene. And so after that, my ex-husband, he put Terry under me to make sure that I was good and watch me when I was doing certain things, especially when he was away. He didn't favor Meech too much but Terry was a real hustler. Meech was just, wilding. But Terry was about that money, and my ex-husband was about that money.
More structured.
More structure, more business is how it is. So he put Terry under me. And by Terry, me and Terry used to always be together. It was a friendship that developed. People thought it was immediately, but it didn't happen until like 5 years later. That's why, like when they do the BMF and they act like he was 17 in high school, and I'm a married woman and I'm screwing around with this kid. It didn't happen like that. It grew into a relationship after my husband was in prison.
Okay.
Years later. Just coming around me, and I still looked at him. I didn't look at him as being in a relationship. I just looked at him as somebody like a friend, a confidant, and somebody who had my back. And then, but I knew he liked me, and I said, "Oh, stop playing," like, "Oh, go," that kind of situation. But one day, I just looked at him different after I put him I hate to say this, like I put him in a different position. Like I said, like, I knew that why you can't grow in this business. Here I am. I got all this money everywhere. And I'm looking at you and you're my friend and you're not growing. How can I help you grow? And that's how it developed. I'm going to make you rich. Don't change.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this for you. And once I did that for him, that's when he said, like, one day you're not going to have to do it anymore. And that was a dream for me. Not that my ex-husband really wanted me to be in it. It was something I wanted to do. I thought I just liked that life. But you haven't got tired of shit. Like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of, coming home. I'm faking the work job. I'm got my kids. I'm making my kids be little liars. They in my world, they can't tell people what we're doing. I'm a liar, they're little liars. I was just tired of the whole scene.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of watching my back. I'm tired of coming home, put my kids to sleep, watching all my windows. And once he said that and we developed this relationship, I'm like, finally somebody, I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this anymore. And that's how that developed.
And then when you and Terry got together, basically, like, what was your contribution to the BMF movement?
Well, I think because they wasn't developed the way they were, they have, once I gave them that back, because they wasn't, like when you say the 50 boys and stuff like that, they hadn't grown to that level. But I knew that if he had that push, and he had that structure, because I knew him, like, you just need you just need a bag, you just need a push.
Yeah.
You can get there. You over here getting ones and twos. If I set up for you to get this big ass bag, he was like, yeah. And for something in my head, like a job shit, I'm gonna give you 90 days to show me. That's how crazy and structured I was in my whole little bubble of drug dealing. No normal kind of like, oh, you got 90 days. You going to get my money back? Or this, not that I'm going to kill him. He's going to be a problem.
Right.
But you got 90 days to show me that you can pull this off. And if you do that, we going to do this again. We going to keep doing it. Just don't change.
Right.
And then, like I said later on, like my husband got out, we got into that big ass thing where he tried to come back out. Y'all ain't doing this over me. And that's when I moved to California in 2000. That's when BMF really started in 2000. It was none of that whole. I get confused with BMF stars because I don't remember. That's not the story that I remember.
Right. Well, that's my next question. Like, how do you feel about Stars, the BMF series, portraying you? Because Lala would be your character, right?
Right.
So that's what kind of confused me researching you. And then I did watch the show.
Yeah.
And
she speak on it. Everybody speaks on it. She just don't say my name and nobody say my name. But that's me.
Yeah.
I'm the girl that he was with, that he caught, from the ex-drug dealer that went to prison. That's me. She's just doing her job.
Yeah.
That's a job for her. And I think if anybody, I think she's a beautiful woman. I think she's a great actress. I would love to have sat down and talked to her, or them allowed her to talk to me, because there's so many personal parts in that story, like the abuse and everything. It took me years and years and years to talk about that. Nobody knew that until like later on, I think until 2021, when I talked about it on Trap Queens. But that took a while to talk about. That's after my mother passed, me talking to my sons and expressing to them, I need to talk about this. Expressing that with my ex-husband, I need to talk about this. And they all said, you do need to talk about this, because that might be what's going on with you. I started being closed in, it going into a small, like a depression, after my mom. And they like, you just need to talk about it. And so after Judge Mathis and A. Smith and Company asked me, they kept asking me, like, come on, talk about it in Trap Queens. I started talking about it. But then when I seen it on BMF Stars, that wasn't a part of Terry's and BMF and Meech and the plenary's life. That was my life. That was my story. That was something that took me years to talk about. And you're triggering something about me that y'all didn't want me a part of that story. So why couldn't you create a different story? You everything about this story that I'm watching is kind of fictionalized. Why didn't you fictionalize that part? Why did you have to take that part of my life? And when people ask me about it, or people ask my children, my sons, I want to say children because they be like, we ain't children, my sons about it, that they don't have to feel they don't have to feel embarrassed, or their dad don't have to feel embarrassed because they talked about it. We're not all friends. So why take something, even like I said, Terry, whatever happened between us, you were supposed to protect me at all costs, because I protected you. Why wouldn't you protect me in that? Why would you allow them to take the most intimate part of my life, and discuss it on screen, and then not talk to me about it? Why couldn't you ask me, well, how do you feel? How did this happen? How did it make you feel? Because even during my movie now, it was hard to watch, but they were so, like, Mega Minds and BET were so compassionate, show so much empathy and compassion when it came to doing those scenes, because you never know how a victim feels.
Right.
I never knew how it affected me.
So your movie is coming out and you're finally going to get to tell your side of the story.
Yes.
So tell us about your movie.
My movie is a biopic, and it's about me, about my life, how I grew up, how I seen it, how this all became up, how did I all become a part of this big drug organization called BMF. And it's amazing, like, it's from my eyes, how I seen it, how I, pictured it, how I walked through it, my path, my journey.
Yeah.
And I just hope that, it's a amazing story. It's a true story. The way I remember it.
And you're personally working on it.
I'm personally working on this from,
your
my
mouth,
voice.
right?
And I just hope that, my journey, I just wanted to inspire women, not to, not to look at all the trauma and everything that went through, that they can look at me and say, wow, she came through it. Because once you see it, it's so many different layers. And I just wanted to inspire women to say, she came through it, and look at her now. I don't wear all that no more. I don't wear the scars. I just think you could see them, but now I know, like, no, I'm strong. I'm here.
You don't look like anything you've been through.
Yeah, so it's an amazing story, and I just hope that, people can watch through my journey and get inspired, and, it can get them hope and a vision, and they can make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
And I need to be invited to that premiere.
Oh my
Real
God,
Hoes Need Real
Chris,
Questions.
yes.
Red carpet asking
Yes,
questions.
yes.
But so let's get into that. Real hoes need real answers.
Yes, yes.
So what would you say, like, to a woman who would be in your situation in prison, feeling like it's over after living that lavish life, getting knocked, going to prison, and just like, what advice would you give a woman, like, to motivate her to that she's going to be okay when she comes out?
I think that every day that you wake up and you take a breath of fresh air, and it's always a chance of hope. And I just say keep pushing. You know, we all can get down on ourselves and we can all get depressed, but I tell you, from me in my mouth and journaling and talking to yourself, and every day speaking positive words to yourself, and keep pushing, get surrounded by some positive queens, some positive people. It's nothing is over. Nothing is over. You can get through anything.
Yeah.
I swear to God, anything. Anything. As long as you can say, you can take a breath. Like I'll tell women, get up, make your bed, and if you got to make your bed, come to the couch. It's a step. Just every day. Just keep every day talking to yourself. Keep motivating yourself. Keep pushing, because it's always hope. Always.
Yeah, and you're living proof.
Right, and you're never too old, because, you know, young girls, young women always want to be like, oh, bitch, no.
Right.
You can look at me.
You only get better and better.
You only get better and better. I would never thought that I would be where I'm at today. But like I said, my mother always would tell me, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And I tell people, if you keep trying, no matter how bad it will get better. It will get better. If you ain't got nothing else but a pair of pants, a t-shirt, and one pair of shoes, just keep them clean. Keep yourself up. It will get better. I promise you. I promise you it gets better.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you today, and I think you gave us a lot of good game.
Thank you.
So cheers to you, and the First
cheers to
Lady
you.
of BMF, Tonesha Welsh story coming soon.
Y'all better watch it.
Yes, we're in there.
Tune in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
From
you.
Bad Bitch Boot Camp. We out. Thanks.
Cheers.
Bad bitch.